All right, guys, the frost is coming. Now, whether it's tonight, tomorrow night, or the night after, it's definitely coming very soon. And I don't want to get caught not having everything I need to have done before the frost for my garden. So these are the top three, I believe three is the right number, things that I'm going to be doing today to prepare for the frost. Now, I'm in Pennsylvania, zone 7A, and today is October 11th. I thought that our first frost wasn't supposed to be until October 20th, but I looked today that said the 16th, and that's right on track with what the weather has been indicating for temperatures. And with all the moisture we've had and the hurricanes down south, yeah, I can see it. It's going to happen any day now. So I'm going to get ready for it. Hey guys, welcome back to Garden and Grease. Today, we are preparing for frost. And honestly, it has been super cold at night. And by super cold, I mean the low 40s. We have some coming up in the high 30s. One thing I'm gonna start with is my herbs because I want to get my dehydrator filled up and running today while we're doing everything else that we need to get done. So let me jump right into that. And let me show you something really cool I made, and if you guys really like it, let me know and maybe I'll do a video on how I made my harvest apron. So it's double-sided as well. I have a different pattern, a flower pattern on the back side, and this is my honeybee pattern on this side. So now all I gotta do is cut them and throw them in my little pouch. A lot of this is like really overgrown, and I'm gonna pop these figs off. They're ready. Woo, we've got a lot of figs off this one little tree this year, a lot. And as for this fig tree that is in a pot, we are going to let it go dormant outside and then take it in. It'll do it pretty quick once we start getting some light frost. I don't want to get hit with a heavy frost, but we will be taking it in. And I actually put my plants that are dormant, not necessarily my pepper plants, but like my rosemary, my figs and things like that. I actually put them on our back porch. It's enclosed, but not heated. And he does really great there. And maybe I'll talk about how I'm going to go about that whenever the time comes. But he is still photosynthesizing. He's got all these green leaves and he is not ready to go inside yet. So I'm going to leave him out. Let him gain all that energy he can from the sun now. All right, so on to our rosemary. All right, I got a good handful. I'm gonna throw that in my pouch. We have a lot of pruning to do in the cottage garden, like just cutting back to the ground on a lot of this, but really the bulk of what I want to get done is going to be in the vegetable garden. But I really need to clear this area out because I'm going to be planting garlic. So all the annuals are going to come out. We're going to obviously leave perennials, and we're going to plant garlic in there today. Look at this aromatic pocket of harvest. Do you see that? Woo! It's going to the dehydrator. All right, and now I'm gonna go around and start harvesting everything from my pepper and tomato garden beds, even the green ones. It's gonna get pretty darn cold tonight. As you can see, I'm wearing my sweatshirt right now and the sun is high. So we're in fall for sure. So let's get to it. I also sewn a pocket in here for whenever it's down. I'm gonna do my hot peppers last. I'm gonna keep them separated. I actually give them to people that we work with because we don't really eat a whole lot of hot peppers. I will keep a couple for one of the recipes though. Look at these big beauties. Woo! You know, this really kind of sucks because the peppers were just getting going hard. I mean, tons of peppers, and I do like it when they're the colored peppers because I do orange, reds, yellows. And so I'm picking a lot of these green. They're still big and beautiful, but they haven't changed color yet, which changes like the sweetness in them. And you know, if I just had like another month, give me another month, I would have some amazing colorful peppers. I mean, we've gotten a lot throughout the course of the year, you know, for the past few months, but they really put a ton on now, and we just kind of have a shorter growing season than those down south, and that's okay because at least we're getting peppers. All right, the pepper bed afterward. Those are all, this is a big basket. Let me give you some reference here. Okay, you can see. That's a pretty big basket. That is all of our sweet, our bell peppers, sweet banana peppers. We have some sweet Italians in there. And then I have a bag of hot peppers. Got a bag of hot peppers down in there. Those are going to other people. It's a decent amount. So you'll see I got a lot of these cuttings because I cut out the ones I definitely do not want for next year. I will try to overwinter some of these pepper plants. Obviously not all of them. This one, even though it's hanging over pretty good right here, it was a heavy producer of the orange bell peppers. So was that one. I had a chocolate bell pepper, which did really, really good back there. And I have a yellow bell pepper that was amazing. I cut one of the really pale yellow bell peppers out. It didn't do all that great, and they would kind of rot before they were all that big. So by cutting down the ones I know I don't want to overwinter, I've left options. Now, what I am planning for the worst, that we are going to get a frost in the next day or two. That's why I harvested all the peppers. But I'm actually hoping that we don't get the frost just yet. That way these pepper plants can these peppers can kind of naturally start to go into their overwinter phase themselves. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. And drop their leaves and start to get all yellowy and stuff, so I can try to overwinter them. When I force this a little early by cutting while they're still like in a really active growth, I don't have as good of luck, that's for sure. So I'm hoping we can get more cooler temperatures, but not hit a hard freeze or even a freeze at all that will send them into complete decay. All right, so let's say you don't want to harvest yet. You want your vegetables to get ripe before you harvest them. Well, you can use season extenders like I have behind me. Now, let me explain first. Some things won't ripen that well, even if I covered my whole tomato trellis area with some fleece or something. If it's too cold at night and there isn't as much sunlight here in the fall, there's more dark than sun, or however it works out, they need the sun and the temperatures to actually ripen really well or fast, because it could be really, really slow, especially with some really, really green tomatoes and they haven't started to go blush at all yet. Just cut them green. Because it could either take forever or they just won't ever turn. But let's say you have some kind of cold hardy crops, but ones that maybe aren't going to take a freeze very well. I have this set up and it looks pretty janky. I said I was going to make it better and I didn't get around to that. I'm still going to before it gets too chilly out. But I use this for my spring crops, and now I have some fall crops in here. Not a whole lot. because I intend on actually topping all the beds. They need a lot more soil in them. I'm gonna put more compost in them. So I'm not gonna be growing very much through the winter. And honestly, when growing through the winter and using the row covers to do that, you still need to get a lot of ventilation in there, which means that you need to have the time to come out after the frosting and open it up and let air come through, close it in the evenings. And if you have a really busy schedule, work schedule, sometimes that can be pretty hard to remember to come out and do. And some of this, fleece and stuff is actually going to block some of the sunlight too. And we already don't have a whole lot of sunlight in the fall and winter time. So you need to give them as much as you can during the daytime. But we are going to keep these going for a little while. We have spinach, carrots, chard, and lettuce in here. And so when I get those harvested, I'll end up topping this one off. But we're going to do all the rest of the beds here about within a couple weeks from now. We're going to clear everything out and fill them up with soil because they're like a foot low. So we need soil and compost in them. We have some aged manure that we like to get from a local farm. Organic aged manure, an all organic farm. But if you have a small enough garden or you have a lot of infrastructure or resources to cover all of your garden space, you can extend it for at least a little while so that you can get your full harvest and get everything ripened up pretty good. But yeah, so we will be using this for a little while, but most of everything I have in here can handle a light freeze for the most part. If we do expect something a little heavier than a light freeze, I am just going to put this thin fleece over the top of it. Actually, this is my netting because we use this most of the year for our brassicas until we got them out to keep the moths, the little white moths off of them and the little brassica cabbage worms. And it did really, really good. So I do have an actual fleece, a thin fleece product for the garden that I'm going to end up draping over this. I'm going to take this out, clean it up. It looks kind of yucky. So you can do that to try to extend your harvesting just a little bit more, or try to grow through all of fall and into winter, depending on what you're trying to grow in winter. Most things you're going to try to grow in the winter, you're going to want to get them at least mature enough before winter that they can withstand. There's such a low amount of sunlight that it's hard to get something to actively grow. But if you can get it mature enough, it'll sustain and you can at least come out and harvest through winter. Okay, there's something else I like to do before frost hits, and that is choose the flowers or plants, and this usually applies for me for flowers, that I want to save seeds from. Because once a frost hits, a lot of the flowers that you want to save seeds from, they become like gray and brown. Sorry about the traffic. They become like gray and brown looking, and you can't tell what color they were. Now I'll show you that like on zinnias, but let's just say I'm standing in front of this one. You really liked the yellow. It starts as a pink, opens up as this yellow straw flower, which holds up pretty good. And you're not ready. You just want to wait until after the frost to actually harvest the seeds, because that works a lot of the time. Put a ribbon or something on here. This is the one I want to remember to get the seeds from. So I would take a ribbon or anything, a string, a rubber band, something to tie on there to remember that was the pretty one that I wanted to save seeds from. Or if you could just save seeds right now, I usually take a Ziploc bag or a brown paper bag if I'm doing a lot of them. I have these little envelopes for seed saving. And I would cut the flower that you want to save the seeds from. And I usually set it aside for when I have time to sit there and pick the seeds out. But I would put on this a label or write on the bag or on a piece of paper and put it in the bag what the color of the flower is and what kind it is. And then later when I have time, I sit there and pick my seeds out and put them in my envelopes or whatever you're going to put them in. You could just put them actually in the Ziploc if you want. But like these, These will just bust wide open after a while. So like here's the example, my zinnias. When the frost hits, these are gonna look like muck. And that's actually after that, usually when I just have time to come out and take the seeds from what I want. But if I didn't mark the color or the ones I really, really wanted, I'm just kind of like a shot in the dark, cutting and saving the seeds for whatever I saw. So marking this with a ribbon or some kind of tag, and I would know, okay, that was a really pretty one. I'll write down inside, you know, or on my little envelope in advance, you know, zinnias, pink, single, because, well, maybe it was a double. You can do it when they're even more in bloom and they're really beautiful and you're like, okay, I really, really want to save seeds from this one. This one is like the best one that we have. This is actually a self-sown seed from last year, this beautiful zinnia. See how brown this one is? You would not know what color flower that was. Maybe it's a little pink right here. But you'd have a really hard time telling. Zinnias are pretty easy to get the seeds from. If you open that up, and you look in here, like that's a viable seed. It's kind of got a dark, all you need is that dark spot there, like that part. These little like white husky ones, that's not viable seed, but these darker ones, you can kind of feel inside of them. They're a little thicker and plumper than the flat papery ones. So you want the better ones. Okay, so I had to stop harvesting after the peppers. We had appointments and all kinds of stuff going on, and I'm getting out here a lot later than I intended. The sun starting to go down. Oh, I got the one single egg that we have right now because the girls are molting. And I still want to get whatever tomatoes that we have harvested. The green ones, the red ones, everything, because I think it's supposed to get down into the 30s tonight. Hey guys, it's already pretty cold. I'm back in my hoodie and my hood up. I'm chilly, pretty darn chilly right now. Let's see what we got here. A lot of these cherry tomatoes that need harvested. Kind of cherry tomatoed out, if I'm being honest. Like, we have a lot of cherry tomatoes. Some of these are busting. Just gonna get the really good ones right now. A lot of our tomatoes are looking like that right now. We had all that rain, you know, when everybody had, well, when the South had the hurricanes, we had a ton of rain, and listen, my heart goes out to y'all if you lived in an area that got hit by a hurricane or flooding. I can't imagine going through that. We didn't get that. We don't really get that around here, but we had a lot of rain, and so I feel bad complaining about that. I'm sorry. This, I'll just give that to the chickens too. If it's busted, open, I give it to them. If it's just starting to crack, I keep it for me or us. It's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. It's starting to blush, so we'll just put it in on the counter, let it get red. All right, I'll show you my haul when I'm done cutting them. All right, I have so many here. Oh. I'm out of baskets because I've been filling them with goodies. Have room in this container. Okay, I don't have room. All right, yeah, I'm gonna go take those tomatoes that we had cut down that were like kind of buggy and stuff, and I'm gonna go throw those in the chicken coop. That way when they wake up in the morning, they have some yummies to eat. Not just the tomatoes, but the bugs that are on them. All right, guys, thank you for watching the top 4 things that I like to get done before the first frost of the year. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this video or any of our others. Every single subscriber helps this little channel out big time. And hit that like button. Have a good one, guys.